Okay. I worked with must I say the brand?
I so love it. So much.
Thank you.
Should we be approaching brands or should we
Or
not?
should we wait?
And also when we do, what does that look like and how
Yeah.
do we actually start? Is it not like performance anxiety?
It really is.
Because now that there's a check, you must
you must
start even posting.
Posting is step 4 of 10.
Today's guest is a true force in the world of influencer marketing and brand partnerships, Rose Choeu. She's not just an experienced marketing executive, she's a mentor, a speaker, and a strategist who's helped shape some of the most authentic creator brand collaborations we've seen. Her passion for people, mentorship, and skills development is felt in every campaign she touches. If you're a content creator looking to work with brands or a brand trying to get creator partnerships right, this is the conversation you don't want to miss. Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. I've been screaming. I've been shouting. I've been calling all of you guys to order on my TikTok concerning this thing. And today I've brought an expert who's going to teach us, give us the strategies, give us the tools. Listen, by the end of this podcast, if you're still confused about building a brand, creating content, approaching brands, you see all of that. If you're still confused, I need you to watch it again and again and again and again and get in touch with the lady that we have. Today's guest, I have Rose Choeu. She's not just an experienced marketing executive. She's a mentor, a speaker, and a strategist who's helped shape some of the most authentic creator brand collaborations we've seen. Her passion for people, mentorship, and skills development is felt in every campaign she touches. So this is the lady, who's building all those campaigns you guys want to get into. The person that's doing all of those things is the person we are talking to today. Miss Rose, welcome to the Resonate podcast.
Me. Me. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. What an intro.
Hey, it's giving $1 million baby.
Akere.
Banyana ba ditjhelete.
Ba ko teng.
The brand builders.
Mfoneleng, cut the check.
Wait, when?
Cut the check.
You're such a key person to talk to today. I'm
Thank
so excited
you.
because this is, I think, a conversation that's so important for a lot of people who want to create online.
For sure.
Or who want to use the online space to sell whatever it is that they want to build. Could be a business, a product, or service. And I think today you're going to be the right person to open up the conversation around the how and the strategies they can do to, they can use and employ in their businesses. But before we get into the actual business of the day,
Yes.
we want to know Rose a little bit more.
That's all.
So we've got some questions for Rose. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be. As ready as I'll ever be.
Just to be prepared.
For ready to psych myself up.
Ready?
I'm ready.
No, you're going to love it. Okay, my first question to you is, what's something people would be surprised to learn about you outside of marketing?
We were actually talking about this outside. I'm not an actual extrovert. I know a lot of people see me and think that maybe I'm out there and I don't do people. People make me nervous. A little bit of social anxiety.
Wow.
So I'm quite introverted and people don't expect that from me because I'm always in public spaces and talking and needing to be in front of cameras.
Yes.
But that's the one thing about me that I don't think people
expect. That is
expect.
so interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Mm-hmm.
I really would not have guessed that at all.
It's my little superpower. I'm just at home. I'm a real homebody.
Really?
Yep. For real.
That is, I would not have guessed that.
Mm-hmm.
The second question is, you work with a lot of creators and talent.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most memorable campaign or partnership you've ever been part of?
Wow. Yo, that's quick fire. Okay. I worked with, must I say the brand?
Yes. It's fine. It just means that they have to contact us.
They must call us and stuff. No, I was privileged enough to work with Lays.
Mm-hmm.
The campaign was actually towards the UEFA Champions Cup, but it wasn't able to happen because of COVID. So we did a backup campaign and we worked with Pearl Tusi. That was exciting for me because it was her and her daughter. And that's been my favorite moment because I was just what? So yeah, that was a really, really dope campaign that we worked on. I worked on a few others now that a lot of them are coming through, but I don't want to overthink. So yeah, that was my favorite.
That was a favorite. It's and I can totally kind of understand to like, when we see somebody on TV, but actually getting to work with the creative behind them and just their genius. This is like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it was an interesting way because it had to be shot like specifically, right? Because we were still like under lockdown. So there was like a few people on set and like we were virtually watching the shoots on some different days. So it was quite interesting. But I just loved like their relationship was just so authentic. I think for me, the moment was experiencing them. They're so real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. The last question is if you had to describe the African creator economy in one word or phrase, what would it be and why?
What would it be? One word or a phrase? On the rise.
Wow.
Because I feel like creators are in a space where they're like equipping themselves now and they're upskilling themselves, not just content creator wise, but like holistically. And so like they're doing more and they're becoming brands and they're understanding branding and personal branding. So it definitely is on the rise.
Yeah.
So we are on our way to, making similar bag to what they, abroad, what they're doing. So on the rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much because I think we've created like departments and a whole industry. I mean, it always was there, but I think we've broadened it now in such a beautiful way, which is amazing. What do you think is the difference between us that are on the rise, which is the African economy creators and creators from a global landscape?
I think it's been exposure for a very long time and that's why I choose on the rise because now we are one community. I feel like, we have access to each other. You'll see like a platform like TikTok. There are creators abroad that love South Africa, that draw inspiration from South African TikTokers and just the South African TikTok landscape. So I think for a long time it's been exposure, and not just exposure. I'm not talking about exposure to like social media or internet. No, not like that. I'm talking about, just exposing yourself to the different tools and learning the different platforms and understanding content creation and understanding branding and marketing. So I think there's just never been like a broad exposure to it where it was just like create content and then maybe one day you'll get paid, but not to know how and how to diversify your content, to diversify yourself and, just kind of teaching yourself the different kind of tools of the trade, So I think there's never been like a conversation until now where like now we're starting to get into that space. And that's really how the mentorship part of me kind of like grew from working with agencies. I remember when in the agency I used to work for, they always used to be like, are these people paying you? Do they know how much you talk for them? Because every time when a client comes in like, okay, we've got 100 rand, I'm like, no, Michelle needs 200.
Yeah.
And so now what? So I think it's just been that way. Now we're having those conversations where now everybody's kind of understanding what it means, how to go about it and how to kind of grow it. And so that's where I think we're bridging that gap.
Oh, that's so interesting. Do you think that, I mean, you mentioned something around like price negotiation and I want to maybe actually just start right at the top. It's obviously a new industry that's developing. And because it's developing, they almost, there's best practice pricing, but there also is a lot of factors that determine pricing. Then it makes it hard to standardize it because it's just too many factors.
It is.
Right? What's a comfortable way for somebody who's coming up, or could be an entrepreneur who's just been sharing their journey? Now they're just starting to get brand deals. What's a comfortable and effective way? Maybe not comfortable, but an effective way to start pricing themselves into the market, not out of the market.
Yeah, because sometimes you do price yourself out the game.
Yeah.
I think the first thing to do for yourself is not to compare yourself with other creators and not to compare yourself with other brands or compare your content to another person's. And if you've heard so-and-so has gotten paid X amount and now you're thinking just because it's the same brand, but not understanding. And this is where the exposure comes in. Because you don't know why the brand is approaching you. Maybe they're approaching you because you have a higher engagement and they approached X because they have a higher reach. So now there's all these different factors of how it is. And I talk about this in my podcast in trying to make people understand that you need to do your research. You need to do your homework. You need to understand your profile before you can actually sell it. Because if you come to me and you say you're charging 1,000 Rand and I look at your profile holistically and I see that your engagement is not high, you're not consistent, or the quality of your pictures, or there's some unsafe content on there, it's not worth it for me. I'll be like, this stuff is worth 500, so that's all I can give you. And so if you don't have that proper research, you find people pricing themselves over or pricing themselves under. So do the proper research and just understand the landscape, understand the brand that you're working with, understand why they're coming to you, so that you can actually position yourself. Because this also is not just for you to fight with the brands, but it is for you to position yourself. Because if you know that your engagement rate is 5.6, you walk into a room, you're like, y'all need 5.6. So you coming with 100 Rand, but actually for 5.6 engagement rate, it's worth more. So you're able to position yourself. So I think research is important. People need to understand the different tools, the different campaigns, and the objectives of each of these campaigns and the different brands that approach them. So research is actually quite key. That actually helps you in how you position yourself.
Yeah, I love that a lot. And I think for me, one of the reasons or one of the ways I've learned to do this research is like during a briefing, I'll always ask the person, like, what are your KPIs and how do I fit in there?
Yeah.
So why did you choose me? There's probably a lot of people that you could have chosen. Why did you choose me? So they will be able to say, we looked at your numbers and this is why.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a reason or a factor for me to know, okay, do I want to negotiate?
Yeah.
Or do I want to build a long-term, relationship? There is this one, every time we talk about pricing, there's always this counter conversation around exposure.
Yeah.
Brands come and they say,
trade exchange.
Yeah, do this thing. We want to give exposure. And I can imagine, obviously, when you're starting off, you think, exposure is great. I'm getting free things and people see me to be working with brands.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you are now growing, but you're still getting exposure. Yeah. When do you know, as a creator, when do you know that this is now the time for me to charge? I can't be feeding on exposure anymore.
I think it continues with the upskilling of yourself. Like the more you upskill yourself, the more you start to understand. When you do a campaign, don't just rely on the campaign managers or the influencer managers or the agency to actually report on your content. You must report on your content to yourself as well, because it will help you improve yourself. It will help you better position yourself and upskill yourself. You'll start to see where you need to upgrade yourself or whatever. I think that from that point, once you assess yourself, you need to constantly also audit yourself.
Yeah.
So once you have those audit for yourself, so you can also know that, because this is why I'm saying that now you start to position yourself. When a brand comes to you and say, look, we'll give you 5 exposures for this, you're like, I'll take 1 exposure and 1 check. Why? Because here's where I was when you guys started with me. Here's where I am now. This is the ROI that you guys got from the last campaign. And you start to have those conversations. And I think because if you're not in the position or you're not comfortable enough to upskill yourself, get management.
Sure.
Find the right manager that you align with, somebody who can actually help you with that. Because I don't always say no to the trade exchange campaigns for my talent. But I will say to them, look, I'll take 1 box and half a check instead of just no check, and just start building there. Because I know that for the next time, they're not going to expect another trade exchange, because then I'm giving them ROI. So I think people need to constantly invest in content creation. I think this is what I always say. Why are you creating content? Why are you an influencer? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the bag? Because if you're doing it for the bag, then you're going to do anything under the sun.
That's true.
Absolutely everything under the sun. But if you're doing it because there's a certain value that it brings to you and to other people, you're going to cherish it. You're really going to cherish it. It's because it not that I don't want to call it a job, but if it is your job, you're going to want to improve yourself, and because you want to go back to your boss, you'll be like, look, I've been here for 5 years. Let's talk. Same with content creation. if you're the same, they're gonna keep coming back to you, because if you don't report or assess yourself, they're gonna come back to you and be like, actually, you gave us less last month. So us coming back is really just admin for us, because we wanna hustle admin. We don't wanna do the job of finding another rose. You're already here, so do it. When you can come back with an increased engagement rate, we'll have that conversation. So auditing yourself and assessing yourself is actually quite key.
Oh, that's actually also like teaching me a lot of things. Because I think the other thing I could also add in there, and I think you spoke about it as was like investing in your in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As you grow, the gear needs to change.
For sure.
And that gear is not 1,000 rand.
No.
It's expensive.
It's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
It's something that we had to, when influencer marketing was kind of growing. It's been growing in South Africa for a long time.
Yeah.
But obviously some brands took a little longer to kind of get to it.
Yeah.
And obviously the pandemic actually worked to our advantage, which is actually quite strange. But, only then some of the brands were starting to kind of understand that content creation is not just phone, hey guys. No. Content creation, if you want the quality content, if you've chosen a quality content creator, you need to understand what goes into that. Videographers, editors, traveling, all of those little things, content creation is not just phone and tripod anymore.
Yeah.
It goes much more intense. Yes, you can start there, but it goes deeper than that. So I can't charge you 1,000 and I must charge you 1,500 because I need to pay my videographer.
Also, and my editor, because at the rate that I'm producing content, it doesn't allow me to edit it myself.
I can't. And attend your event at the same time and engage on the content. I'm not going to be able to do all of that. So, God, that 500, I have to split it amongst 5 people, and I must pay Ubers, and I must save money for my next campaign, because you don't want to blow the whole 1,000 rand. You need to
That's
save
true,
up,
because I don't know when my next check
is coming. So it's an educational thing, and the opportunity to educate isn't really just for the content creators. The brands also, and the agencies have quite a lot to kind of learn, and we've been learning on the go, but I think there's like a lot of merit in the conversations that are necessary now.
What do you think it would take to kind of institutionalize the creator industry? Because I think maybe the reason why there's this lack of understanding is that, like, you get Michelle and you get to talk to Michelle, and Michelle creates the content, and it's not like I go to X agency or I go to this company. So there isn't kind of an institution that forms part of kind of not necessarily legalizing, but kind of giving it a bit of a weight on systems and processes on how this works.
So thank you for asking that question. But no, so I for a very long time have been kind of brewing the idea of having an influencer academy.
Oh, wow.
Or a content creation academy. And it is about to happen. So, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
So, but I think something like that kind of, it helps people be comfortable in knowing that, when you are going to book a content creator who's accredited, you know that person, first of all, your brand is safe in that person's hands. That person is going to value that relationship. They're going to be loyal to it. So you already know that you're not just getting a passerby. You're getting value for your money. You're getting a forever ambassador, if at most, you know what I mean? And you'll also get some skill. But also what is that people can also pass into the academy and actually realize that maybe I'm not a content creator, but I'm a strategist. Maybe I'm an editor. Maybe I'm just a videographer. I'm good with angles. And it doesn't necessarily, that's why I struggle to come up with ideas. But I do best when I'm recording the content, but the idea takes too long. So there's all these different types of things. Maybe I'm a PR specialist. Maybe I'm a brand manager. Maybe that's what I do. I understand branding, but I can't get it across. So there's all these different industries within the industry.
Exactly.
But we don't have those conversations because it's just like, it's content creation or nothing. And so everybody thinks, I need 10,000 followers ASAP. I need this ASAP, and I need, a certain cool drink brand to contact me today, because everybody's thinking that they need all of that today. I want to go viral today. But you don't have the plans for that holistic vision.
And as I think some people grow as well, you begin to see that it must be turned into a business.
Yeah.
It's like with us at Resonate, producing this podcast is a team of people that are doing so many things, from the person that got in touch with you to the people in studio right now who've set up the lighting, to the people who are going to edit, to the person who's actually going to post it.
Hello?
Because I am not there. Because I am not there 24/7 to be posting and doing the need to the trailers and stuff. And you realize that it's a value chain.
Very, very big
that
value
we now
chain.
need to start identifying ourselves in. That is creating a new industry to say it's not just content creation or the creative industry.
For sure.
They are different. And I love that concept of just people being able to identify themselves.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you realize that it was all fun and games when you were just creating by yourself. And now that you're big and you've got a team, maybe it's a little bit more harder now to come up with ideas.
Of course.
You're good when it's like sitting on camera and actually talking, but it's like maybe you've been so busy for the past 2 months.
Yeah.
You haven't had the time to actually get into the strategic point of view.
Yep.
So you need to hire strategists.
You do. Because at the point that you're in, so I started a podcast also, Creator Conversations.
I so love it. So much.
Thank you. So Creator Conversations is exactly for that.
Yeah.
Trying to walk everybody through the different steps and through the different channels that they can find themselves at, and how they can understand that, content creation. When you see a content creator, you need to understand that the first point is strategy, the last point is reporting. So everybody always thinks
it's not even posting.
Posting is step 4 of 10, So I think there's so many things to understand that like that thing of just like from strategy to putting together a pitch deck to approaching the right people to following up with them. Okay, now you've got the deal. Now what? Now you need to find the right videographer, which you would have identified in your strategy.
Yes.
Because you need to know who is who in the zoo. Because are you going to record it yourself? And when and how and where? And then you go through all of those steps. Then they say yes. Then you post it. Then you engage. Then you report it. Joalo fela. And then you start
and you
again.
repurpose the content.
Hello?
Oh, it's a lot.
It's a whole lot. And we haven't had a room where we just sit and talk about that.
Yeah.
Because everybody just thinks, nope, must trend today. As soon as I can trend Klabash up, and what happens after that? Or how did you even get there? Who are you trending to also? Because you can trend in the dark alleys.
That's why I don't like going viral. Because I think going viral exposes you to people that aren't supposed to be there.
For sure.
In most cases. And then it can sometimes, not all the time, change the conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like from what your intention was from a piece of content, people can easily then start having other conversations.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's so important. Like, even if you really, really want to go viral, that's fine. But just go viral in the right room. Like,
that's true.
With the valuable followers. Like, because you want to go viral. If you've got 10,000 viewers today, you need those same 10,000 people kausane,
True, yeah.
If only 500 are your real people, then really what's the point, Because then I find that content creators then get into this space of like pressure where they want to just churn out content, churn, trying to keep up with this 10,000. But my advice is always, no, stay to what you were going to do.
Yeah.
If you are posting weekly, stay to posting weekly. If your 10,000 people are going to wait for you every week, you're better off, than the 1 million on that one day and then 200 on the next day.
That's
so
true.
you're really, really better off in making sure that you want valuable followers.
That's true.
You want people that you can go back that follow, resonate from the start, that get value from there. You're better off with those 500 people.
Yeah.
You really, really
That's
are.
True.
Until it gets to a point where those 500 people will multiply it. They'll double it. It'll be 1,000. Those ones will get value. Then it'll go to 2,000. Joalo fela. And I think we really, people are shying away a lot from steady growth.
Yeah, shucks. And you know what? That's actually very interesting because, like I said when I started this video, I've been shouting at a lot of people on TikTok, just saying to people like they need to get up and create their content. People are just always like, Michelle, I'm posting every day, but like I'm always on like 200 views, or like my content is not moving. And I think maybe the most, and I'm also curious to hear what you think here. Maybe the most daunting thing for like the steady growth is like just feeling like no one's watching. It's like you're screaming in an empty room and nobody is watching. But I think it also has to do with like those 200 views are 200 people.
Yeah.
You know, or if we were to even look deeper into the matrix, let's say it's 100 and something people that probably watched it more than once. But those are still people. And it's like what you're saying, from the moment you go from 500, it can only go to 1,000 because there was 500.
For sure.
And then from 10,000 because there was a couple of thousands that kept coming to this content, to this content, to this content. What can we do to build that staying power, even when we're not seeing the results?
I think the important part is to start correctly.
Yeah.
It goes back to, why are you doing this? If you're doing it to be viral, take off your clothes. If you're doing it to be viral,
it's like you'll be viral now.
Sorted. 1 million views. If that's really why you want to do it, then go crazy. Honestly, do a backflip from the top of a car, break your bone, like break your nose on, like I'm being dead serious. But if you're doing it for value, if you're really doing it for value, you will be patient and you will wait it out and you will the thing is, once you strategize it and you understand why you're doing it, your why is going to be what keeps you going. And your why won't make you question only one person commented it today. Because if you just want to change one person, that for me, it was just to change just one content creator. Just one person at Zibe, this is what I need to do. These are the tools I need. That one person will tell another one person. So I only got like maybe 2 or 3 comments in the very beginning on the snippets. And that's all I wanted. For somebody to say, oh my gosh, I didn't actually think that through. I need a strategy to be a content creator. I just thought, Michelle is doing it, let me do it. So-and-so is doing it. And I think we're not researching the different platforms.
That's so
the
true.
Different types of content. And like I said, the different roles in the creator economy. I think the word creator economy is so powerful. And the more we think about it, because if you think of an economy, how many roles and departments are in... Well, I understand. So if we're calling it a creator economy, there are so many things. Like you said, like this room, there are a team of people that put together this room. There are a team of people that hand over this content to the next. Joalo fela. So you can imagine if this is just this one episode. We haven't went to videography as standing. We haven't went to food. We haven't went to automotive. I understand. So the economy is so and so start with your why. You know, and I think your why will help you consistently build and consistently grow, because then you're not going to keep questioning, today it was only 10 views, today it was only, you know, if your why is there and you're not doing it for money, it won't matter. Just impacting just one person, because remember, of all the videos that I watched, Sahau, maybe 2 really spoke to me, you know, or 1 really spoke to me that changed me and it made me grow, and I would have grown in a different direction. And from that video, I would have realized, oh, actually, you know what? I'm not a content creator. I'm a branding specialist. Like, that's what I do. I understand branding. Or I'm a salesperson. That's what I understand. Because you don't all have to be. I think the challenge is that content creation is such a big driver for sales and for marketing and whatever. So whenever you start a business, you always think, I must create content. Leave us alone. Take pictures of your product and post it and sell. You know, sell. But you don't. I think it's just because now we're getting stuck in that thing where it must be content. We must book studios. We must book videographers. We must. So I think the minute you understand your why, if your thing is to make people feel good, then make people feel good. Find a way to do that, one person at a time. And then you'll just, but get patient. Everything requires patience.
You know, when you talk about finding your why, there's also the other side of that, right? Is that people have a strong heart for a specific message. Or to make people laugh. And that's all they do.
That's all they do.
And then they grow to 1 million views.
But
no money has come in. what are the steps to now actually start monetizing those numbers? Because you get people that start with the intention to make money, and they will do the right things and the brands will start coming. But people who have more numbers, I get into several conversations with some of the creators, and I ask them, like, how much money are you making? Maybe they have double. I mean, currently I'm sitting on like 80,000 TikTok followers, and they'll have double. They'll say, I make this much. I'm like, shucks, I make double that.
Just slightly more than that.
You know, and then you realize that, okay, maybe what is the... So my question to you is, how do we start monetizing the numbers? We've got the numbers now. We've built the numbers, because I think also building the numbers can also be like, it can be a sprint. It's like what you say, people just keep coming and coming and coming. It's like, what is... I mean, I'm currently watching not watching, I came across, it's very important I say that.
Jeez.
I came across, there's a guy on TikTok who's doing revenge diaries.
He's gone. And he's been doing that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Been doing that.
I came across it the other day, and then last night I was like, what? Because I hear people saying, you know, when people create content about the other person's content, like I keep thinking of revenge. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I went on to see, oh my God. I was like, he also got on 1 million. And in my mind, I'm like, how do we monetize?
How do we monetize that?
How? Because these are numbers, and these are numbers that are plugged in. So maybe for somebody like that, or for anybody who's got 100,000, 50,000 of people that are engaging completely.
Yeah.
You know, like when I say, for instance, I'll talk for myself. When I say I've got 80,000 followers, I know that I'm averaging over 10K views on and there's proper engagement in their conversation.
Yeah.
If somebody's going through that, how do they monetize that to start bringing the money in, to not only just bring the money in, but to then sustain this thing that is happening? Because clearly there's a need for
it. There's a need. You know, it becomes tricky, especially with TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it moves so quickly, and it hasn't reached the proper monetization status that it needs to in South Africa for the level of amount or of content that's being created.
Yeah.
I think it becomes tricky because brands are so specific. There's a certain thing that they need. If you don't drink water in your videos, I can't just...
It's hard.
Because then people are going to be like, and then matey, you know? But if you're able to find a way, and I know this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, honestly, from strategy, because then you know, because he already knows. We know the tools that he uses when he's making these videos.
I love them so much. I saw them last night. I thought,
we know the tools that he uses. We know, we know what kind of conversations are in there. There's so many opportunities for the brands of the products that he uses. There's opportunities for, brands that deal with mental health, for example,
to plug
or
themselves there.
Brands that just deal with, because he's speaking to students. If it's students that are talking in there, there can be something. There's merit in
That's
there.
True.
He's a well-groomed guy.
Yeah.
There's brands that can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very well spoken as well.
Very, very well and intelligent. Hello.
Amazing storyteller.
Hello.
I thought.
And do you know what he does for a living?
It's a doctor.
He's a doctor. So when you see the content, you're just thinking, so how much opportunity is in there? How many brands can he approach and talk about, whether it's men's health or female health, whatever? He has the tools, he has the knowledge. But if you don't have the background before of why I want to do this, if you want to do it for vibes, but if you have a plan, then you need to start packaging your content. That's why we spoke about the different types of content that there are. So Sharp, that's his bag. That's what he does. But there's a way, especially now with the traction that it has, there's a way in which he can package this, because there's some elements in there. Sharp, it's fun and it's interesting to learn, and we all have a revenge story here and there. But in there, you just try to, you can't help but think of like, wow, I remember that I was pretty broken that day. If it wasn't for XYZ, or if it wasn't for, so-and-so buying me a certain, beverage, and, taking me to a certain spa or whatever it is, I wouldn't have, and then you can kind of package it, because then he needs to find a way to package it in which brands can see themselves fitting in. I find that creators sometimes create like a lot of content and a lot of traction, but when I show a brand your profile, the brand will ask me, okay, but how do we fit into there? So to just randomly have a bottle there, it's it's not worth it for us, because what guarantee do we have? Unless he tells you, if he shows up tomorrow and he says, Banyana Bak, we are drinking this water today. Fail. For this whole week, we are drinking this water. That water's going to go. Do you know what I mean? Because we've seen, you remember when, why did I forget her name? When she did with the lotion for the stretch marks.
Yes.
That was not a paid video. She just mentioned it. She just said, this is what they were sold out. They were sold out. And so if brands don't plug into that, or if now you don't be smart enough to be like, hello, from my video, I heard that you were sold out in 2 stores in 1 hour or whatever it is. So you need to find a way to package that. This is where it comes in with equipping yourself with all the different tools and the different members of a team.
Yeah. And if you're not, then get in touch with a strategic person or somebody who understands
to help you
brand,
support that.
So you can start. I really, really like that because, and I think I remember Grace once filmed like a video showcasing how she plugs different brands into what she does to be able to kind of build that relatability. Because I think it's in any business, right? Your customer must see how they can use what you're selling
for sure in
their lives. And if I don't see it, if yes, it's a skin serum, but nini, when,
Kanchan,
morning or
and what did it do?
You know, but if you do a video showing me how you use it in the morning, or how you use it in the evening, or how you use it under your makeup, then I'm like, oh, I can relate with that, and this is what I do. Then I can plug myself in, which I think is very, very important. You said something that I also want to jump into, which is, for instance, the creator we're talking about, how he should be approaching brands, right? And this is a conversation I've heard quite a lot. Is like, should we be approaching brands or should we not?
Should we wait?
And also when we do, what does that look like? And how do we actually start?
So it becomes quite tricky. A lot of brands, especially the big brands that people really want to go for, would already have agencies in place.
Yes.
So a big challenge that some of the content creators are facing is the gatekeeping, because I have my friends, you have my friends. You know, when the brand calls you, you're like, sure, this is the way to chummy. See on, come this side. So it's becoming very, very difficult. So the long and short of it is really put yourself in touch with the right people, whether it's the right agencies. You have to do your homework enough to know brand X is working with agency Y, because then you approach agency Y to be like, hey, ke batla go sebeletsa XYZ. I saw you guys, you know, and that's just a quick way to kind of get to that. Because if you're gonna send an email to the manager of microphones worldwide, he's not going to get that email. It's going to end up in spam
or to their Instagram
to their DMs. You know how many DMs that they have in there. You understand? So I think it's about just understanding those kind of processes and just understanding. So when you research the brand and you start to understand, you know, find the agencies, find what brands they're working for, you know, and just kind of put your feelers out there and just understand the industry. And then, you know, you put together, find a way, somebody that can teach you how to put together a pitch deck, you know, how to put together a media kit. Because if you're just going to send me, hey, Rose, I'm on 10,000 followers. Last week, my video reached 100,000 views. And I'm like,
only one video.
Hello. And I go to your profile and I see selfies. I'm going to ask you questions like, do you eat? Do you go outside?
She give us more to work with.
Well, understand. So I think there's a lot of things that are like entailed in that, and the answer is very long-winded. I know that people always expect me to say
yes, no.
Call me at 7:00 and then I'm going to put you in touch with, and it doesn't really work like that. It really is just like a lot of things in progress. But this is where like now I'm finding that a lot of people are managing a lot by, you know, by getting managers or signing onto platforms that can assist you with that. But even in there, you're doing the work that can get recognized by said brands. You know, you engage with your content because, you know, I've seen a lot of American TikTokers and even just abroad. Like a huge brand will comment and be like, this is the most hilarious thing. They jump on there. Immediately. They say to that brand, love it so much. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. And they'll create a follow-up video. The brand has no choice. Because then the brand they do that. They've sent us a screenshot, be like, yeah, Michelle tagged us the other day. She said she was eating mazimba ale and it was very nice. Kopa le mo founeleng. Or send her a PR package. So it does take a little bit, but that's why this is where I was saying katabaya patience, and being intentional about your content, because then you're not just going to email people and you're going to email the right people. You're going to have a good looking email address. Hello? A good looking email address.
At gmail.com.
You know, Rose 679 85 86 87 at Gmail. I'm never gonna remember that, and trust me, Google's gonna do me a favor and they're gonna put you in spam. So it's gonna be difficult. So those little tools, like paying for a domain, is like 90 rand a year.
That's true.
I understand. So like find those different ways at your name, you know, like it's rose at rosechoeu.co.za. Like it's easy. It's 90 because you invest. I get it. You want to take yourself seriously and you want people to take you seriously as well. So there's no direct answer to that. Find a way, just do the research and understand, okay, what goes into a pitch deck? What goes into a media kit? Because if I say, please send me a rate card and you send me a picture with a box of prices next to it, I don't have the time. Must I go find you on Instagram? And must I find your insights and understand what the insights are? Put together a media kit. Tell me what brands you've worked with. What ROI did they get? What are you going to give me? And just go from there. But I'm finding that hanyani, you know, it's quite slow, but the doors are being opened. We're trying to like kick all the doors down and like get agency people to like open the industry. Now it's really go open the industry on the creator side. So, but it's building slowly. But I think the more professional, the better.
I'm really looking forward to your podcast, because I think these are the things people are actually going to get to learn, which is the step by step of like, what do you need to put in the media kit, and what do you need? How do you make it short enough but give it more information for somebody to be able to understand? Because I think these are very important things. They move you from just being talent to actually being a partner or a consultant when you're working with a brand.
For sure.
Because now they are seeing you as a cooperation, a business. And there's a certain level of respect and a price tag that is attached to that versus smangmang@gmail.com and they got your cell phone number right away. Yes, it's quick, it's fast, but if you can professionalize it, you give the illusion that there is more resources that are going into this person creating this content.
Definitely, because I think I always say to people, if there's one thing that they can take from Grace, it's her authenticity. So much so that like brands are like finding ways to literally plug into her life. Because she delivers it so beautifully, like, and so seamlessly. And sometimes you're watching a video and only at the end you're like, wait, did I just wait? I watch a paid partnership video and I wouldn't have even known it, because I'm just in her everyday life.
Absolutely.
And brands are seeing her as a partner more than anything. You know, they're approaching and saying, ma'am, how can our water... can please go contenting your house, because she's taken it seriously, and because she shows every different brand each day how they can plug in, you know, from hair brands to personal hygiene brands to furniture brands, because everybody sees what, you know, somebody's gonna approach and be like, I've noticed Hannah Ottoman Ottoman, and then boom, she's in there. She'll be like, unbox an ottoman with me. Out everywhere. Now, that's why people are just like, but she's doing it so well. And also she doesn't floss it. It's
so
not
natural.
No, it's not giving, my life is a paid brand partnership. No, it's not. No, not at all. When she goes to see her grandmother, how do you know that's not a paid partnership video? You won't ever know, because she does it so well. So see yourself as a partner for the brand. Position yourself that way. That's why I get it, like, content ya khwizi. If he starts packaging it right, brands are gonna phone him to be like, Rukupa, on your next video, mention something about how people can deal with depression, how people can deal with loneliness. And here's a number that they can phone if they are struggling with XYZ. If somebody on one of these diaries mentions about how maybe they turn to substance abuse or whatever because of that, brands can go in there and be like, if they have a problem with substance, here's the number that they... So it's all about packaging all of that stuff.
But I think maybe my qualms is that the brands aren't quick enough.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the red tape that is internal, that it's like, because this thing is hot now, now is the time to actually make for these brands to come in and make those moves while it's still hot.
Yeah.
And then also this fear, right? And I hear a lot of creators talk about this online where they say, I've put a piece of content out. Like, and I've heard creators say, guys, please engage with my paid partnerships.
Yeah.
Because they say, you guys engage with everything else, but my paid partnerships, the engagement is very low. What do you think causes that?
If it's not authentic enough, it's a struggle. If it doesn't feel natural. I'm finding that sometimes when people do paid partnership videos, they turn on the whole ads. So guys, today's the day.
It's like even the way that they speak begins to change. Their camera quality is now much better.
You're not in your house, first of all. You've booked a whole Airbnb. You've got a videographer. Today, there's people who put on a full-on face beat just to show me how to make fish fingers. Like, I can't relate, This is real life. It's content creators. I love them so much, but like they struggle because they're thinking that the problem is that we're replicating things that were people's normal life. I always make the example of Bonang. When Bonang posts a picture of herself like stepping out of a car or in a parking lot, guys, she was arriving at a meeting. And she stepped out of the car and she said, take a picture of me. Or she said, oh, I look cute. Or somebody said, oh, cute, shoot it. And she posted that. Now, what you're going to do, gonna pay a videographer, clam squad, and go to a parking lot to do those pictures. Those pictures were stunning, but high natural, high authentic. So I find that you can always tell when a video is like a paid partnership video or it's a branded video because they hop into this and it's because sometimes it's because of the brand. Sometimes
is it not like performance anxiety?
It really is.
Because now that there's a check, you must...
Yeah, you must. And because now it's a big brand and they set you down, because we sit people down. We brief them.
You brief.
Yeah, brief. Here are the do's, here are the tones. So please, no nudity, no this. And then already somebody's feeling, oh gosh, like you even forget to record what's nudity. You asking yourself, if my videos and I'm always doing this, now all of a sudden I'm sitting there, people are like, are you okay? It doesn't feel like you. So I find that your audience is quite intelligent. Your audience is like audience before, where we were just consuming everything. We know when you've been paid for something. When it feels like an ad, it doesn't feel, we're just like, and sometimes it feels like it's in the brand's voice. And remember, the thing about influencer marketing is that people trust people.
Your briefs also come with a suggested scripts.
Really? Now, once they talk about suggested scripts, I tell them, I'm like, I'm gonna read this to the influencer. I might not even send it to them. I'm gonna read it to them so that they can put it in their own voice. And if they speak vernac and all of a sudden they're speaking English, it sounds weird. It's not authentic.
That's true.
And that's not what we want from them. So that's why we won't engage. That's not what I want from you. If tomorrow I a video and it's in full-on English and he's sitting and he's like, guys, I promise you're really gonna love this water.
He's wearing a suit and tie.
We're gonna
twice if you need help.
Because you are captured.
Yeah.
So you need us to help you. So I think that's where the struggle is that the audience is too intelligent and they disconnect with you when you're not being real. And that's why like we've been trying to teach brands. But like I said, I think brands are they're in the room now. They understand a little bit. If you're choosing Michelle, this is how Michelle speaks.
Yeah.
This is how people respond to Michelle. So you're not going to be able, Kausani, if Michelle starts a video with say, XM Zanzi, meh, are you okay?
Is everything fine at home?
Rona, you, not us.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's going to be different. So we already want to say to them, okay, she's not going to sound like that. But I mean, we hear what you guys are trying to say, but she's going to make it sound like her and you guys are going to be fine. So I think people must remember that even if it's a paid video, let it still be you.
Yeah.
Let it still be you.
I like that. And I think it also has to do with the brands giving creative freedom to the creators to not be too prescriptive, because I think also because it's still an emerging sector.
Yeah.
Both sides are learning. The creator's learning and the brand is also learning.
Yeah.
So what could easily happen in that case is like they go to somebody for the numbers and not the engagement.
For sure.
Or they go to somebody for the engagement and not the numbers.
Yeah.
So because of that, they then want this person with their numbers and their engagement, but they want that person to then sound like this, because then they don't want their brand to be associated with potentially how that person essentially presents themselves.
Yeah.
And then the problem rises there, but they come with a nice check.
Yeah.
So now how do we say no to that money? Let's build a relationship and let's negotiate. And then the problem even gets deeper and deeper.
And the pressure gets worse. I think it's a continued conversation where I think you can only hope that the brand and the agency, the middle people, have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So that you can at least go back and be like, guys, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
I promise you my audience is going to respond if I do it like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's gotten better.
Yeah.
You know, there are still brands that just want it how it is. And those brands, I think, are struggling because they're so used to traditional marketing. Because a TV commercial is a TV commercial.
It's like a live read.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we wrote a script for you. Read it.
And read it just like that. There's a YouTuber, his name is Kevin Lang. And his paid partnership videos are ridiculous. Like he does the live, he reads the piece of paper that was emailed to him. Literally where it says, now engage with the audience. Oh, I'm supposed to engage with you guys now. And it's literally called that.
Oh my
but
gosh.
People have responded to it because it's real. Because he's like, what am I supposed to? I must act like I'm going to the doctor. No, book the doctor and just keep it moving. So I think that brands, you know, there are still those very traditional brands that are just like a live read is a live read. That's how we want it. And, you know, they want the television commercial kind of content to be done by influencers. But I think that the more that brands kind of just start to understand and actually just like really just relax when it comes to influencer marketing, and just understand that if you're booking this person, it means you've seen how people engage with them, right? And they have never done anything like what you want them to do. So what makes you think all of a sudden now they're going to be, because they will disconnect. So they need to trust content creators a little bit more.
Beautiful. Do you see back in the day, I say maybe 5 years when, you know, the creator economy was growing.
Yeah.
The elite celebrities in South Africa did not want to be called influencers. And they were very like, ugh.
Not an influencer.
Yeah, I'm not an influencer, whatever. But as time has gone and the chicks are rolling, we've seen them more, not necessarily identify more as influencers, but also kind of merge themselves within the creator economy in one way or the other. Either it's inviting these creators to events or, I mean, I love how DJ Zinhle interacts with creators. Like she is, I'm like, wow. Like, wow. Out of this world.
Yeah.
I love it very much. And to that, and then you'll see there's people who are actors or actresses who are saying, why are the jobs going to the content creators versus us actually went to school and studied this thing? And so there's a lot of controversy, obviously, because it is a new industry that is emerging of people that seem like they can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
They can dance. They can sing.
They can act.
Yeah. They can. Wow,
everything. Man, people jack of all trades, master of all.
They're now doing ads.
Yeah.
They are now, you know, and
voiceover artist, because what do you mean? You? Yeah.
Do you see it?
It's hectic.
And some of them can sing. Also, you're just like, what can't you do?
Because now, like, you wonder, like, all these singing competitions are like, how did all these people pass by us? Because we could have easily been on like 1,000 streams by, you know, 30 seconds, whatever.
Yeah.
I think sorry, your question.
No, go ahead. I literally just wanted to open up this conversation to say, where do you foresee kind of the two merging together? I do, in my view, but I think you're the professional in this case. In my view, I see DJs into kind of merging the two together because these are industries that are kind of intertwined and they need each other.
They do.
You know, and they're running these competitions. I'm just like, so I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts around that.
Yeah.
And also potentially maybe how then the creators can also position themselves in a way to work work with artists.
Yeah.
And also artists can also do the same, vice versa, that it's a collaborative effort between these quite similar, if not the same industry rather, but in different sectors. Yeah.
I think it's really about, look, the more we take the creator economy seriously, the more we'll be able to really dig deep into it. You know, if you think about like actors, there are actors that can't sing and there are singers that can't act.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, because we want Michelle can't act to save her life, but she sings. So we'll just have to tie the liver.
Hold on.
and just fight through. How many times have people been like, oh gosh, they shouldn't have cast Rose in that movie. She cannot act to save her life. But she sings when you know. So I think the sooner we dig deeper into the creator economy, we will see that there's room. And also, but it's also the brand's responsibilities as well, because the marketing budget and the television commercial budget can also still be streamlined. Like the actor can still get and the content creator gets.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it gets difficult when brands now want to use content creators in commercials and on social media and on this, and then there's a feature, then there's a this. Then it really does seem like somebody was going to get sidelined.
Yeah.
And of course it's their talent, and actors have held us down for years.
Yeah. Oh, shame.
Actors have held...
Before social media.
Hello, excuse me. Actors have held us down.
Love you guys.
So much. So much. Actors have my heart because they really, like, they invest. You know, you go to bed thinking, see if I meet that girl in the streets.
Hey.
One understand. Our mothers, how many times still believe today Ntsiki Lukele is the evil that she is. She's somewhere in London, but they know if I see that in Ntsiki. But because they held us down.
Yeah.
And I think there's an opportunity to sit everybody in a room and be like, okay, here's the room. There's so many corners in this room. There's so many desks in this room. You take that desk, you take this desk, you take this desk, and we just shift around.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity. You know, and I think brands have the opportunity to do that. If you still want to do a TV commercial, the actors editing, they can still kill it for you. And then, because the content can't be the same.
That's true.
So it can't be the same. We've seen, you know, Mpo Pops like kills commercials, kills stand-up and all of that stuff. And content creation, is just, he's just being himself on there,
and
right?
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. And it's just being himself. So, but there's an opportunity for them to see, okay, let's get another funny person that's content creation strong and that can support the campaign that's the TVC.
Yeah.
So I think there's just an opportunity to really dig deep into the creator economy. We really just need to like sit down and just unpack it and have everybody in the room. Casting directors, you know, what do they want? Because a content creator doesn't necessarily know how to act in a casting, for example, or in an audition. And casting directors get buffalo peel. They're just like, the influencer. And it's not even that. That's not the real issue. The real issue is that there was an opportunity to get a professional to do that and then just let the content creator thrive in their own space.
And I think also, to your point, right, there's room for everyone, but it's also important, and you keep mentioning this a lot, it's the research aspect of things, is that if you're looking to work with a content creator, you will know there are content creators who are good at acting. With that, within their content, you can see, I mean, I've been following Atlehang. You're just like, this person is a director. Yes, this person is not. It's like I won't say it even feels unfair to call him a content creator. It's like that's this person is
but
a director.
Skilled.
You know, they perform these skits. They're able to show these angles. There's too many things that are happening there. Where if he was to be casted, for instance, in a movie or a series, it's like, not that it would be wrong if they cast anybody else, but it would be quicker for it to make sense based on what we've seen.
For sure.
And now he's taking everybody behind the scenes of how it's created. So you're getting to see that, oh, okay, if we were to classify this person within the TV and the film, he would be this kind of, he would fit here.
Exactly.
And maybe more content creators, in terms of being able to showcase the other areas where they excel in, is maybe being able to show where else are you good at.
Yeah.
Because if you are just showing us in front of the camera, yes, you're great, but maybe you're the one that's writing the script.
For sure.
Show us that script formulation.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're the one who's show us. I think that behind the scenes is so
it's
powerful.
so key. It's so key because it diversifies your content instantly.
Yeah.
And that's really exactly what you said, is that's what we've seen with like the actors and the actresses coming into the content creation space. Is really, it just diversifies them almost immediately. Because we did have brands. I know that there was a brand that we were working with that specifically wanted actors.
Wow.
And it was challenging at first because they were like reading scripts, or they were like presenting like, so give us a call today, and you have to be like, no, just happy Sameli, right, you know, because they wanted specifically actors. Why? Because they wanted the community that follows those actors. So there was an opportunity there. So we just need brands to kind of just dig deeper into that. But also there's also merit because some influencers / content creators have really invested in that craft. You know, like Utadeus, he does these things, but he actually studied drama.
Nice,
Like graduatile wincing. So there's an opportunity. We upskillile. So he does want to now enter that industry and all of that. Nice. But it does go the same way. That's why I'm saying some of my talent are just actors, and they're just trying to be exploring the content creation space, because obviously they're understanding how, you know, they need to now diversify. You know, there's work online as well, more than just, you know, it's not just castings every day and, you know, yes, you on set every day, but there's opportunities out there. So there's those kind of things. So I think there's a way to just kind of flow within each other and kind of learn from each other.
Yeah, I love that. One that's also coming to mind a lot is Tisha Lima, not because she's my sister, but because she's a brilliant content creator. She's able to translate certain messaging within just being in front of the camera and creating such a hilarious skit. So it's like really amazing. My last question before they kick us out of here.
Because they want to.
Yeah, because they want to. They've been...
They hate it.
Hey, what's that king? They don't want us to get our bag, but we get it.
But the thing is, it's fine. The bag is secure.
Exactly. And we'll always do a part 2. If a part 2 is not enough, we'll do a part 3. A part 3 is not enough.
The thing is,
like,
I'm just sensing sequels, and
you get,
and I feel us going on the road.
You move in the speed.
No,
me and you.
I feel like next week you're on my podcast. They would just do like, we just like.
Do you understand? Let's go. So, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rock.
Ready.
Okay. So, you see, I even have like so many questions I want to ask, and now they just...
No, part 2, I no stress. Free.
Okay. What are the biggest red flags that content creators, and now maybe on both sides, from a content creator, maybe 1 or 2 red flags that they need to look out for in terms of just realizing that this is not the right brand deal for them to engage in, and also for the brands, what are the red flags, or maybe this is not the right this is not the right creator or the right audience that they should be attracting or that they want to buy from them.
Yeah. From a brand side, I think it's very important for them to I don't want to say invest in tools, but to have the right tools to really dig deep into the content creators that they want to work with, the prospective content creators. Research the types of audience, who's following them, are those people safe? You know, if they have people that swear at each other in the comments, you don't want to play in that space. So I think brands need to really upskill themselves in doing that, and it's okay for them to diversify as well. It doesn't always have to be rose. It really doesn't. I know it feels safe, but if I have a chance, you know, just diversify a little bit and just kind of see. So I think one red flag to look out is like people that just constantly just switching between wholesome and not wholesome. And I find that a platform like TikTok is really, it's a trap. Because you can be so quick to be like, see this comment here. And you're forgetting that you're replying on a video that was a brand. Understand? So sharp, you're offended, but this was your very big opportunity to just let it go.
Like go for therapy.
Just remove, and then you talk to your mom. Understand? But I think brands need to look out for content creators that just switch between wholesome and not wholesome. And look, you're a content creator, you're online, so your life is out there. I'm not saying people have the right, so people don't have the right. First of all, you have the right to your own space and your own voice and whatever, but know why you're doing things. And so if Rose's comment is not suitable, delete our blocker.
It's your platform.
It's your platform. It's your bag. It's your why. It's your intention. So brands just need to look out for those kind of content creators. Brands also need to look out for content creators that just take on everything. Because you're gonna just be in a wheel.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to build loyalty in there because already as a brand, you're probably coming with a 1-year plan.
Yeah.
From April to April.
Yes.
So if you're doing a campaign now for Easter comes every year. So if you want this person for the next Easter, if you're just going to be in the wheel of content, so just look out for those content creators that just take anything, because anything means everybody.
I see.
So, and if your brand is not for everybody, you need to niche in. You know, you need to like hone in. So I think those are the ones that I can think of now at the top of my head. For content creators, kind of similar. Look out for brands that take advantage.
Yeah.
You know, if a brand just constantly is just using this one, the other, it means they're not able to build a base. And I know that kind of contradicts with what I was saying, where I was saying brands must diversify. But if you see brands using a similar kind of person, then you know that they are understanding the audience. So now you can understand, a relationship from me. And it might not be a campaign every month, but I can go to their events, they can talk to me, I can engage with them and that kind of stuff. And I can play in that space. So look out for those kind of brands that just kind of take on everybody and they just kick you out at like even the smallest thing. You know, look out for brands that do too much trade exchange. Like I said, I don't always say no to trade exchange. I always tell my talent first thing, whenever everybody that I signed, first things first, I tell them, I say, we're going to build relationships for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
I'll be there with you every step of the way. When it's time to like charge them, we're gonna charge them. But we're gonna start here.
Yeah.
So look out for brands that do too much trade exchange, but upskill yourself so that you can be able to fight back, because it's you that can fight that fight to be like, actually, I'm worth a little bit more because here's the proof.
I see.
So upskill yourself. And then I think just look out for wanting to go too viral. Like I think that hunger for virality, like I think just relax with that, you know. Don't just jump onto campaigns for failure, you know. If it really isn't in your niche, don't be afraid to say no. But if you upskill yourself enough and you strategize enough, you can be like, look, I don't drink water, but I don't drink cold water, I drink warm water. You know, so I can position it like this. Or I don't speak that, but I speak this. This is how, or my audience doesn't respond to this. Would you guys want me to try that for your brand? So, but upskill yourself enough to have that conversation. I think those are the two ones that are coming to me now.
Yeah.
But a lot of that they can find on Creator Conversation.
Creator I can't wait for some of the episodes that you're going to release on Creator Conversations. I think we're going to learn so much that's going to help us structure. And maybe the conundrum I've found myself in is not only being an entrepreneur, but because I teach online, my work is in the online space, and essentially a part of who I am then falls into the content creator segment, because brands do come and approach to work. And I think it's always important to kind of understand that that whole just industry, what are the do's and the don'ts.
But already one thing that people can take away from you there is that you've packaged your content in that way. So nothing is out of character. So when we see you at an event, or when we see you hosting people, or when we see you doing this, it's packaged for that. You know, you already know that, okay, these are the type of brands that I want to approach. So that's why I speak this way. That's why I'm speaking to these kind of people. So I know what's strange, whether you're doing content creation or whether you're doing sales, because it's packaged that way.
That's
true. So I think people can take away those kind of things and mustn't just be like, no, but Michelle is creating content. But how is the content packaged? That's why I get you like, even if you sell things, you don't have to be the model, the face, the voice, the videographer, the makeup. Wait, slow down. So package it in a way.
I love that. Rose, thank you so much for coming.
I'm so happy. I wish it was like 2 hours.
I know, right? But I'll come to Creator Conversation. Please invite me.
And I'll be back.
When even masterclass, I do. Do you understand?
When the academy launches, I will be here with my facilitators, and we're going to tell you all about the academy.
Yes.
And we can't wait to have you at Creator Conversations.
I'm so ready.
I'm excited.
So we have a Resonate Hub Plus members club.
Yes.
We've got a lot of members that come in there. And part of our goals this week was like, we wanted to create content. But I think it's going to be amazing kind of merging that with your skills that you have with the academy.
Yeah.
And how do we actually do that as business people?
Right.
Because we're not like dancing to the jams. We want to put our products and our service out there and essentially teach certain things online. But I think if we do that strategically with your expertise, we'd be able to do that in a more effective way.
For sure. And I mean, I think, like I said, the biggest thing is for people to understand that it's not content creation or nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a creator economy. So there's so many things involved.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
Rose Choeu, everybody. I really enjoyed this conversation. I can't wait to have it. I think we're definitely going to have it again. And if you want us to have it again, in the comment section, let me know, what questions do you have? What do you think we didn't touch on? Because then we can start preparing and then we can get Rose to come back and we can have another bigger conversation as well. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you loved it and you learned so much. If you did not, I need you to watch it again and again and again, because so many gems are shared, especially if you want to create content and if you want to be one of the biggest and the best content creators this year. Okay. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys in our next podcast episode. Goodbye.